what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me is Chris Fry. We are the co-directors of the Foot Candle Film Society and the co-directors of the recently wrapped up 2025 Foot Candle Film Festival. Chris, have you caught up on your sleep?
Getting there.
I have not.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and be purely honest. Have not caught up on my sleep from festival weekend. We just wrapped, about 48 hours ago? No, not even that, 36 hours ago.
So are you prepped for today's review of Gabby's Dollhouse?
I have. Actually, you know what? I could probably speak to Gabby's Dollhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I in the process of now actually running a movie theater and having to make sure we are programming all types of films to attract all types of audiences,
Sure.
we have played Gabby's Dollhouse, and I've seen good parts of Gabby's Dollhouse. So,
all right.
you know, you want me to
Awesome.
talk about it, I can.
It's based on a Netflix series, is that right?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. I have no idea what it's about.
Gotcha.
I've seen half the film.
Is there a dollhouse?
Yes.
Okay.
I did see a dollhouse.
Okay.
And creatures, like little animated things. And
Are you
and
sure
Kristen
you
Wiig.
saw those, or is it because of your lack of sleep?
It could have been that.
Okay.
And Kristen Wiig was in the movie too.
Okay.
Or she was in my
In your head.
sleep-induced status as
Gotcha.
well. I don't know.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Or, Chris, instead of talking about Gabby's Dollhouse, we could talk about a different film.
Okay.
How about let's review the latest Paul Thomas Anderson film, One Battle After Another. How's that sound? Can we do that
We've
maybe
both
instead?
seen that. We actually we rarely do we do this, but after the festival wrapped, Alan and I said, let's celebrate. Let's go see PTA's new one. So yes, that would make more sense since we've actually both seen it. So
All right, well, why
I
don't we
agree.
do
Let's
that? Little change of plans.
Sure.
We're gonna throw a curveball here, but yes, we are going to review One Battle After Another here in just a moment. Along with that review, we also have a little bit of some movie news to share. I want to talk about one project in particular I'm fascinated by. I can't wait to talk about. I don't know if we've even mentioned it or the even possibility of this film happening, but anyway, we will discuss. I'll share it with you after the review.
Okay.
Also have a teaser of a film that I'm also extremely curious about that I have not seen yet, and I want to sit and let's see if we can watch it together. And Chris, I think we'll take a little time later to also talk about the our festival. We can kind of give a little recap on how the festival turned out, who the winners were, so we can kind of run through those as well, and just give some nice little parting thoughts on the festival that we experienced this past week. So, and I think you have a recommendation also.
I do.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot to do. My coffee has not quite kicked in.
Okay.
My eyes are at like half mast, like half drooping, trying to stay awake.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and jump into this before I nod off any further. Okay. Let's get into our review of Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another.
Now what I'm doing here is I'm creating a closed circuit. Very important to keep your cap shunted like this so you don't accidentally detonate your charge.
Don't stop. I want you to create a show. This is an announcement of revolution. The message is clear.
I'll be seeing you very soon.
Not if I see you first.
So Paul Thomas Anderson, you and I are both fans of this director. Favorite? Now we'll get to One Battle After Another, but just kind of as a setup, Alan, what's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film?
Boogie Nights.
Okay, I thought that was going to be your response.
Yes.
My favorite is Magnolia.
Okay.
I have others of his that I like, but as I'm sure you do. But those. So we're firmly set back in some of his earlier earlier work.
Yes.
But we like other things like
However, I
Phantom
would say
Thread.
Phantom Thread
Right.
butts right up against Boogie Nights, and on certain days I could see them flip flopping.
Sure.
But yeah, so yes.
And I think you and I, when I remember we reviewed it here on the show, when Licorice Pizza came out, which is his previous feature prior to the one we're going to discuss, in 2021, we were both kind of like, I mean, okay. That was kind of our reaction to it. It's like, it's not that it's bad. It's just, I think, I'll speak for me. Expectations kind of got the better of me. We were coming off the pandemic. Unfortunately, because of how, we had to see it. I did see it at home. I didn't get to see it in a movie theater.
Right.
So that probably affected something.
True.
Plus, to me, it was just kind of, if you hadn't have told me this was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, yeah, I guess there are some signature things in there, but it's not what I was expecting. So there
Right.
again, it was like the whole expectations thing. I think you were similarly kind of,
I was in the same boat.
Okay.
Yes, that's a fair statement.
okay. So with one battle after another, we have kind of like he's kind of upped the ante again. The actors that are all associated with this film, we have Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Leonardo DiCaprio. So it's kind of, returning to more of a star-studded type cast. The plot line is when their evil enemy resurfaces after 16 years, a group of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue one of their own daughter. So the father of this daughter is Leonardo DiCaprio. I will say too, his daughter is played by, where is her name? She was a newcomer, I believe.
You're asking about the daughter.
Yes.
That's oh gosh,
Yeah, it just flipped off my.
it did here as well. Oh,
But one of us will find it.
we'll
but
get to her in a second.
but
yes.
so newcomer with her, and I felt like, I will say right out of the gate, even though I've forgotten her name, she was kind of a surprise to me. How good she was.
Chase Infinity.
Okay, it was wow. That's quite the name. I don't know how I could.
Right.
Can't believe I forgot her name. But she was kind of a pleasant surprise in the midst of all these, huge actors. Here's this newcomer, and specifically, without spoiling anything or getting too far into our review, I'll say there's a scene she has where she basically goes one-on-one with Sean Penn. That was pretty intense, and I thought really well done. So, Alan, I'll throw it over to you. What were your thoughts on this latest entry, One Battle After Another, by Mr. Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yeah, no, I really, really like this film. I think it's right up there in his oeuvre of films that I appreciate. I definitely think I got more out of this and found it to be more of what I was wanting from him than Licorice Pizza.
Got you.
I like the fact that it's also a little bit outside of his typical wheelhouse in some terms of movies that we're used to seeing. I can't remember a Paul Thomas Anderson film with a car chase, with
Yes.
with action sequences, with I don't know, just he's broadening a little bit, he's expanding a little bit, and luckily for us, I think it all works. I mean, I think he pulls it off extremely well. This in my way, I mean, I hate comparing and saying, well, this film is like this equivalent film of another filmmaker, and just kind of, I hate doing that because it kind of, I feel like it cheapens a little bit, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, I think
This is his No Country for Old Men
okay.
from the Coen brothers. I mean, to
Interesting.
me, it's like, it's taking a more contemporary story in a genre that maybe is one that's been around for a while, but placing it in a very contemporary setting, and then a bigger picture that ultimately boils down to just people and relationships. I know this isn't a Western, but I mean, it does take place in kind of some vistas that have a very
Yeah.
Western feel to it.
Interesting.
So it's just, there's a lot to it where it's like, I get that same kind of feel where it's just, there's a lot of big important things being said. At the end of the day, this film still boils down to people and their relationships. And for that reason, yeah, I really liked just about every element of this film. I can't really find any fault with it. It's not coming out of the gate as my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson. I've still
Okay.
got my ones that are above it, but man, it's definitely hovering
there.
in the top half for sure. And yeah, just because so many elements work really well.
So before I get to some thoughts too, I'm just curious.
yeah.
as well, you seem to be really positive on the film. Where does it rank on maybe your films of the year? Is it?
It's pretty high. I mean, it's pretty high. I'll admit there's only maybe two or three films that I even consider at this point to be like the best films of the year. The ones that kind of rise up to that. Right. This is in that ballpark now for sure.
I'm curious. Kind of in my setup a little bit, I alluded to the fact obviously when you have a filmmaker like this, his releases are events, and so expectations are there regardless of how you try to make them not be there. I liked this film, but something about it was, and I think I will completely admit, as you've already talked about, we're coming off the festival. We're maybe not as rested as you would prefer to be going into a screening. So I felt it was a little kind of like disjointed a little bit for me, but I totally put that up to maybe a little bit of lack of sleep. I am very eager to see this film again.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way.
Because I liked it, but I just feel like there is some disjointedness to it. Specifically, I'll say, not used to him going into like political type stuff, and that's how this film starts off. I mean, I mentioned these people are ex-revolutionaries, so they're doing some things with internment camps of like immigrants, like freeing them out of being like catching it. And so I was like, okay, I was struggling to kind of get my bearings, and because of the fact that these people are, running for the law, they have various nicknames and code names, and I was like, okay, who are they talking about here? So I was getting kind of confused, and it was only when I think 30 to 40 minutes into the film, we kind of jump forward, and we see the daughter doing some karate moves. And you were saying, I didn't know the music, but you were saying it was a Steely Dan song. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm getting my bearings. I feel like, and then from that point onwards for the film, I kind of felt like I was on smooth ground. And,
well, I think that was also a little intentional. I mean, it's supposed to be chaotic that first 30 minutes. And ultimately you're supposed to feel a sense of unrest and a rush at the end too, because even the characters got kind of thrown into oh my gosh, what are we doing? And we have to kind of scramble and make some quick decisions. And then we find the aftermath of those decisions. So yeah, it was a lot being thrown at the screen in that first 30 minutes. It was a very, probably the most unlike other P.T. Anderson films that we've seen, where it's just, it was a bit of a mission that, these teams, these revolutionaries were going on, and there was some violence involved with it, which again is not something we see tons of in P.T. Anderson's film.
Not that it's not there, but it's not.
Right. But I mean, as far as it being like, militarized gun, fighting, shooting type of thing. So yeah, the opening was chaotic, and, it did kind of leave you a little trying to put the pieces together, and it really took the flash forward to that time period. You said about 30, 45 minutes into the film, where we get to more quote modern day, that you can then go back and start to kind of realize what some of the dynamics were back in that early part by seeing the residue and leftover remnants now. So anyway, I hear you. I get it. And yeah, I didn't quite have that same feeling, but as far as feeling a little disjointed with it in that first part, I was finding myself just more exhilarated by it and just kind of caught up in the emotion of what was happening. But I could definitely see how there's a lot of information being thrown out, a lot of characters, a lot of names. It could feel a little disjointed. So,
yeah, and I think I was, because of my fatigue state, I was paranoid that I was missing stuff. I was like, wait, what? Do what? Like,
I think when you get to the end of the day, really, this story, I've got to call. I know Leonardo DiCaprio is getting all this buzz and people saying this, and he was good. Okay, I'm not saying he's not good. He's good. I'm fearful that the other performances that I think are really key.
We'll get to some.
I just don't want them overlooked because of the Leonardo factor over this film.
It's interesting going in. So let me talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. Going in, I didn't really know what to expect. I will say, and I think it was a good performance, but I will say, and I think maybe it's getting a lot of attention because I can't think of off the top of my head a character that he's ever played like this, kind of a bumbling, drug, and doesn't really know it. And actually, you mentioned No Country for Old Men, the movie I kept thinking of by the Coen brothers, and it's probably because he spent almost the entire movie in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Was The Big Lebowski.
Sure.
And you know how in The Big Lebowski, not to go too far down that rabbit hole, maybe you and I both like, he, in his former life, before becoming kind of a layabout bum, he was involved in government actions and revolutionary type activities. So to me, this was like, what if Jeffrey Lebowski had a kid? And it was kind of like a different pair. So I kept thinking of that because he's the source of a lot of humor in the movie, dark humor, but source of a lot of humor. But actually, I was surprised at the end of the day how much I really felt he was kind of backgrounded.
Well, I mean, and I think that's okay because again, the movie's pitching. Unfortunately, the marketing efforts are all like Leonardo's the big face on the poster, and But again, I don't think he should be getting as much attention for this because you're right. His character is a much more of a secondary character in many situations,
and he's good. It's just surprising me how much it wasn't like I expected him to be in 95% of the movie, and he's not. So that was kind of surprising.
Really, you've got a film here that's made up of 4 or 5 really good big performances, and all kind of playing off each other. So there's no one main character that we're following, for the majority of the movie. Right. Yes, Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, gets a lot of screen time, and obviously has a critical role to play, but he's not the protagonist we really need to be following or we're really interested in. That's the whole thing is I never was really that interested in his character, like how he's doing, what his motivations are. I'm concerned about the other characters.
Right.
Teyana Taylor, who granted is not in the film a lot, but and she plays Perfidia, basically the mother.
Perfidia Beverly Hills.
Yes, right. Bob's
his partner.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever established if they were married or whatever. It was just a partner, and not in the movie as much. It probably is kind of seen as a supporting role, to the film. However,
when she's there,
her performance is really good, and it's a powerful one, and her role permeates the rest of the film. Like you're always, at least I was always still thinking about her,
right? Well, because
for the duration of the film.
So so in that opening 40 minutes or so, that's kind of the setup of the film, and she has a kid, and then she ends up saying, Bob, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Bob wants her to kind of stick around, and she's like, nope, I'm still revolution, 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 and she leaves. Yeah. And so then he's left to take care of the daughter, and it's kind of like, okay. And so, but because of how intense she was, you kind of wonder.
Well, and just the question marks. I mean, that also left behind. I mean, she performs an action that, I think kind of caught everybody off guard and changed the dynamics of everybody's life, and that's still ramifications they're dealing with throughout the rest of the film. Mm-hmm. So yes, her role small but terribly impactful and terribly well done. So I just see she's really good in this film. I
think we've talked about Chase Infinity as Willa Ferguson,
which is another performance. I echo your
the daughter.
She's so good in this.
Talked about her. We've talked about Leonardo. We've talked about Teyana Taylor. We have to talk about Sean Penn as Colonel Stephen Lockjaw. Mm-hmm. Now he was in Licorice Pizza.
He was
I think
in
for
Licorice
small part
Pizza,
in Licorice
small
Pizza.
Part there. Mm-hmm.
But man, I feel like this is I think this is maybe what you're alluding to is like somebody that should be recognized.
Well, I think Teyana Taylor was the best performer in the film. I will say, and I think Chase Infinity is probably
she's
up
really
there
good
as well.
too. Yeah,
but I'll give you the 3 that I think they need attention. It's Sean Penn's in that mix as well
because he and especially now. Granted, I could see some people saying, no, he's got 2 or 3 ticks and he's just pushing those really hard. And all he is a collection of like quirky ticks that he's doing. But to maintain this just crazy personality or whatever through the film, like it just...
No, I bought it all the way through. I bought his walk. I bought his manner. I mean, it was just, it was quite the performance. It's another reason why I kind of drew those echoes to No Country for Old Men, because there you had such... Anton Chigurh was kind of this... he was a much more mysterious character and obviously a much darker character.
Right.
However, it was still that character that's like you're drawn to because you're fascinated by.
And you just your shoulders immediately kind of drenching, like your hackles go up whenever he's on, because like
So I got
something
that,
bad's going to happen with this dude because he's just unhinged.
I absolutely got that with Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn as well.
Okay.
He's a completely different character,
Right.
But he's still that hard. He's that representation of. He's representation of bad that we're supposed to, that's the best I can say it without giving away too much of where his storyline goes. But yes.
And I think the intensity of him reminded me of another, this time not a Coen Brothers movie, but a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, There Will Be Blood and Daniel Plainview, because of kind of like just the intensity that character could get up to.
Yeah.
Lockjaw, could match him.
So, I like the way he was incorporated into the story. I like the roles, the surprising ways he was involved in the story. Mm-hmm. He's not just the prototypical, here's a military guy who wants to get these revolutionaries and put them down. No, there's a lot more to where he is and what's going on in his head. And I love the exploration of that. And the fact that we learn actually a lot more about him very early in the film with some scenes he has with Teyana Taylor's character. That once we learn those things about him or understand him a little bit in those early scenes, it's like we're always remembering about him the rest of the show, even though everybody else kind of is looking at him as a very stereotypical paper thin character. That's just, nope, he's just a bad guy and he's racist and he's or whatever. No, we all know in the background, like, oh no, there's more to this guy.
There's something else.
There's more going on here. And there's a lot happening in that brain. And I love that we know this kind of early on in the film and we kind of get to explore, watch him try to maneuver his way through everything that's happening. And
touching on that, like some of the things that we know that other characters in the movie don't know.
Right.
Kind of an unexpected part for me, as well as some of the score that was used during this section. He gets involved with another group called the Christmas Adventurers Club.
That's yes.
And that was kind of like very jarring and bizarre, but that like the handling of that, you're like, yes, this is Paul Thomas Anderson. This is him. That was kind of a surprising little bit there.
There's also a section in the film that I found to be really exhilarating. It is kind of a prolonged chase, kind of in the middle.
In the middle. Okay.
Well, it's the Benicio del Toro's sequence, but basically from the dojo being hunted and chased, and I'm just going to say skateboarders and people jumping across buildings and escaping. And that whole sequence I thought was just so much fun and exhilarating to watch. It got into a little bit more humor. I mean, the film, I think, does a good job of, yes, this is heady, serious stuff, and there's real stakes at play, but it also has a pretty good sense of humor, especially when it comes to the Bob character. There's whatever it is, P.T. Anderson is really good at recording or filming phone call sequences, phone calls with disembodied voices on the other end. Okay, I'll just say,
you're thinking Punch Drunk Love.
Sure. Oh, you think about that sequence. This is nowhere as good as the Punch Drunk Love sequence with on the telephone, but it's still pretty good. And then it leads into this giant kind of foot chase and with skateboarding. It was really well done. There's a visual of as they're jumping across rooftops to try to escape. And these young guys are just like going and like, they're just leaping off and you're just seeing these silhouettes just kind of just fall off the top of a building. It's like, I don't know. It was just really, really cool.
So that's an example of, I need to, I can't wait to revisit this film again because I was struggling to keep up it sometimes. And like, I do remember that scene, but it doesn't stick out to me. But just hearing you describe it, I'm like, now that I've seen the film and I know, like, I need to appreciate it. Because interestingly, and this was my, I guess, after you've watched a film, you kind of think like, what sticks out to this film? What's something that sticks out to this film? And kind of a chase scene at the end of the film
that one too.
Stuck out to me. And I'm just like, that was so masterfully done. Something that I would expect like a Tarantino movie actually to have. But it was in it was in the desert, and there were cars going after one another, and they kept this like these rising hills, just like kind of like a
so
roller
good.
coaster.
Yeah.
And just the way it was shot and the way it ends up is just, man, I thought that was really well done, and not something I would expect from Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, the camera ingenuity, like used, that I guess shouldn't surprise me, but still it was like new. And I was watching it because it's an extended sequence. I was like, okay, I was kind of like, oh, this is cool, but what's, is this going to be more than just a cool effect or a cool way to shoot it? Or is there going to be some result? And no, there's a payoff. So I really, that kind of immediately, that's something that just sticks out with me, that I think when I think of this film, I'm always going to think of that particular sequence.
In talking about payoff, so I'm obviously not going to explain and describe the ending in any way. And by the ending, I'm talking about from the culmination of the car chase that you're talking about. That to me, that to the actual true ending of the like credits of the film is, I'm calling the ending.
Sure.
Can I just say, I was so happy with the choices made on ending the film. I could see some criticism that maybe it's a little, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it without, again, giving away
Spoilers or
where it
something.
goes. But
Yeah.
I could see there being some argument that it's maybe a little too Hollywood or a little too friendly, a little too nice, given the film that we've endured and gone through. But I disagree. I'm like, no, I love the way it ended. Anyway, it just, it worked. There's an ending confrontation between Bob and his daughter at the end of the car chase. That's so good because, and it's really because of the way Chase Infinity plays it. I mean, she's so rattled after everything she's gone through.
Understandably.
Absolutely. And then you get to see them kind of finally reconnect the way that we hoped that they would. And then there's a nice little coda before the credits where we do see where they are now. And I'm like, yes, happy, good. This is what I wanted to see. I needed to see this. My biggest fear going in, it was that we were going to get a very depressing ending because this is the film that could easily have gone there if it chose to.
Sure.
And it didn't. And I'm so happy about that.
Yeah,
So,
I'll tag on to that. I'm glad that I totally get what you're saying. Could have been the ending that some people would or kind of think like that's how it should have ended.
Yeah.
But I'll say that I'm in your camp. Okay. I'm glad it ended the way it did.
Yeah. It was a very good ending. It just felt right for what we'd just kind of been through the last 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and this film is based on a Thomas Pynchon novel, Vineland, which is, something Anderson has done before is adapt some of his work.
Well, yeah, he did Inherent Vice,
Right.
which was Pynchon's, which, we weren't the biggest fans of. I think that's probably still my least favorite P.T. Anderson film.
Okay.
It's one I need to go back and review again because I gave it one pass and it just didn't work for me the way I wanted it to.
Sure.
And so it was more of disappointment than anything. But I admire the writing behind this, and at least I'm curious what elements of Pynchon's novel was really adapted into this, and how much of it was kind of expanded on. So
Sure.
yeah. No, I really, really like the film. I mean, if I think about what I've best of the year so far, I know Sinners is still up there on the list for me. I know.
So wait, let's just take a moment. Sinners came out this year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right, but I'm just like, right. Sinners came out. It's one of those that came out in like
It was
March,
such an
April.
odd timing for a
and it's
movie like that to come out. But yeah, that was a 2025 movie, which
Right.
is kind of crazy to
hard
think.
to believe
And
now
then-
here in September.
And then there's Weapons, which is I'm still a huge fan of. I think those are probably, those are two of my hovering around the favorites of the year so far. This is now made its way into that grouping. It's in that club now.
Sure.
So they're all
in the
hanging out at the
discussion.
club, and
Right.
they're now colleagues. So anyway, anything else you thought about the film?
No, I've mentioned all the highlights. I do look forward to giving it another revisit because I think I liked it, but I'm not as enthusiastic as you are, but I think I will be upon a second viewing. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Actually, I'm Going to try to make another round this weekend. I'm assuming it'll be around for still another weekend. It's not doing great box office. I think it did 22 million over the weekend, which is right on the edge of, okay, it's good for a more independent, smaller movie, or a film like this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Warner Brothers distributed it, so it's not an independent film, but
Sure.
by a director that's kind of known for more art house independent films.
Right.
But it's not good enough performing to say that it's a hit. So it's like, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I don't know how this compares to Anderson's other films. I mean, I don't think he's ever had a film that's made over like $80 million total, like any film. So we'll see. But I think there's enough goodwill for the film out there and enough positive buzz that even if it doesn't perform box office wise the way Warner Brothers probably wants it to, it's cementing Paul Thomas Anderson. He's still one of the best we got right now. And his movies are still events. And this one has kind of reestablished him in that point, I think. So
Sure.
yeah. All right. So that was One Battle After Another. It sounds like I came out more positive than you, but we're both positive. Just, I think that I enthusiastic was the word you used.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way of putting it. Yes, I'm very enthusiastic on this film. Loved it quite a bit. Okay. So Chris, how about let's take a quick break. We got a lot of news and things to still go over, and we'll get right to that, but we got a break. I'm going to go refill the coffee and we'll come back with Foot Candle Films here in just a moment.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. We had our review of One Battle After Another on the first half of the show. Both positive, me eking out just a enthusiastic positive review.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
I have told, I don't know if I said on the show about, that we have a movie theater now. I'm learning the movie theater business by running a movie theater on the side of my other day job now.
Sure.
And one thing we found when we got into this theater, like they never threw away movie posters.
Okay.
So we have movie posters going for like a couple decades back.
Nice.
All piled up. So my son and I have been, as a project, going through and trying to find the good ones and get organized. We found a few. I'll admit, most of the good ones have obviously been taken or gone because we do have a lot of posters that are not films I really care to need a poster for or ones I've even heard of in most cases. However, we did, my son was in one room, I'm in another, we're going through all the posters. He yells out, he's like, "Oh, yes." And I go run over, and it's a poster for The Social Network.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have heard of that.
Yep. So obviously that was David Fincher's film about Facebook.
Yeah.
Widely regarded Academy Award winning film. So yes, that was The Social Network. We found that poster. We're very excited.
Sure.
But it reminded me that, did you know there's a sequel or going to be a sequel?
That seems like a rumor that I'd heard, but it was quite some time ago, and then I'd completely forgotten about it. So the fact that you're bringing it up means that maybe it is going to happen.
So yes.
And how many of the original people are involved?
Oh, well, here's where it gets interesting. Well, it's not any original cast from The Social Network, but they're playing
no Eisenberg.
But they're playing similar. They're playing the same characters, just different actors playing them.
Oh,
but hold on, there's a reason for it. I'm okay with where we're going with this.
Okay.
So Aaron Sorkin wrote the screenplay for The Social Network, even though David Fincher directed it.
Right.
Aaron Sorkin is going to be writing and directing this movie. Yeah, that's a little question mark. I mean, he's directed a lot of films. He directed the film Molly's Game which I really liked. I thought
Okay.
he did a really good job with that. He did the one about the Chicago
Chicago.
6,
Yep.
which was fine. I didn't think it was great, but
Yeah,
it was-
I wasn't a big fan of that
Yeah.
one, but yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know how he would do with the direction of this, but it is obviously he's writing it, which I'm glad because I think the writing in The Social Network was
Sure.
one of his strongest suits. But this is now a film titled The Social Reckoning. Coming out in October 2026.
Whoa.
So a year from now.
a year from now.
Yep. The Social Reckoning is the name. It is the follow-up to The Social Network. It's going to be starring Mikey Madison from Anora. It's going to be starring Jeremy Allen White, who is the Bear and coming up Bruce
Is he the
Springsteen.
Zuckerberg?
Nope.
Oh,
Bill Burr is going to be in this film.
okay.
And then Jeremy Strong. Jeremy Strong, you know him. He was in Secession,
Right.
the older brother, and he also played Roy Cohn in the
Right.
Apprentice movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy Strong will be playing Mark Zuckerberg. But obviously as
Okay.
a much older
Right. No, right.
version.
Why? Yeah. And yeah, I get, yeah. Okay. I get the casting. Wow. Interesting.
So the film is being described as a, quote, companion piece. This is according to Variety that wrote
Sure.
up about this. A companion piece to The Social Network. The new film is going to focus on events that take place nearly 2 decades after the boy genius programmer and his tech pioneers invented what would become Facebook. It tells the story of how Francis Hogan, which is where the character that Mikey Madison will be playing, a young Facebook engineer, enlists the help of Jeff Horvitz, which is Jeremy Allen White's character, a Wall Street journal reporter, to go on a dangerous journey that ends up blowing the whistle on the social network's most guarded secrets.
Yeah. Okay. And I remember watching, I cannot remember the name of it, but it was a documentary that was on Netflix about like this, about this. I remember like the whistleblower and like, yes. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay.
It's all based on a series of articles Horwitz
Sure.
did called The Facebook Files back in 2021. Talking about harmful effects on teens and the knowing proliferation of misinformation, all that.
And like algorithms and yeah. Got you.
So, given all that now, what I've just thrown at you about this
Yeah.
film, where's your interest, curiosity, or concern level at this point?
The Social Dilemma, I think maybe was the name of the documentary now.
Could be.
Okay. Well, I think it'll be a discussion piece. And probably always, for me, I guess, I don't know. I am interested. Immediately out of the gate, I was like, well, if you're going to make a kind of a follow-up, then I'd rather there be the same actors. I'd rather Fincher be directing. But as you said, you do have Fincher who wrote the original one. He's writing this, and I can see how it is definitely a companion piece because that kind of sets things up and then revisiting it. Yeah, I imagine, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure. I guess my one linchpin, because I think the acting's there, the story is definitely there, and I'm sure he can write the script. Will I appreciate his direction of it?
Yeah.
But I am curious. Okay. So
Well, I am too. But again, I also am. I agree with you. I'm concerned about Sorkin as a director. I just haven't seen enough to know if he could pull that off again. But
Sure.
I do think Molly's Game again. I will say very, very.
Yeah.
I thoroughly.
I'd
enjoyed
forgotten
that
that was
film. It
directed by
really
him.
good. So
So
we'll see. Yeah. So that is The Social Reckoning coming out about a year from now.
well, and I'll say, and I forget who the director was, but when I hear about a film like that, and me kind of nodding, can't see that because it's just an audio podcast. When you start saying the time period and the actors involved, I'm like, okay, I kind of know where that film's going.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think I'm going to agree with probably everything that it's going to point out. I think maybe it's going to be too heavy-handed for its own good. And that reminds me of a film that people were anticipating and it came out, Bombshell. That was all about the Roger Ailes
Yeah.
and Fox. And to me, that movie was just a mess. And so that it's kind of one of those things that's like they get so excited about the idea of like putting that out there in the public and like, but it ends up just being heavy-handed and just not, well done. So I guess that's a concern that I have about this spiritual or this like companion piece. But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm very curious as well. So we'll look forward to see how that's going to come together. We only have about a year or so to wait, assuming they're on track with the film.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right, let's move on. I want to play a teaser trailer for a film that it's one that we talked about in news quite a ways back when it was first announced. And it was also interesting timing that when it was announced that there was other related projects that were going on in the world of Frankenstein. And we have talked about the Del Toro film.
Yes.
I think we saw the part of the trailer, maybe. I don't know if we did or not, but anyway. The Del Toro film that's going to Netflix after a short opening theatrical run, that has been playing at some festivals and getting some acclaim. So we kind of know where that's heading right now. But there was another film having to do with Frankenstein some way that was announced about the same time and sounded to be very
dueling Frankenstein films.
Yeah, sounded to be very different.
Yes.
So now we have a teaser for it. So we'll be able to find out exactly how different it is. This is a film titled The Bride with exclamation points. So just like with Mother from several years ago, we have to say it, The Bride,
right,
when we say it. It is Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial work. Not her first one. She's done a couple other films.
The Lost Daughter.
The Lost Daughter she did. But this one, it's her take on the Frankenstein story. Yes, it's her follow-up to the Academy Award nominated Netflix pick, The Lost Daughter. This version of the Frankenstein story, especially focusing on the Bride of Frankenstein, stars Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale. And the story is that the film sees a lonely Frankenstein, played by Christian Bale, traveling to 1930 Chicago to try to get a groundbreaking scientist, played by Annette Bening, interesting, to create a companion for him so the two revive a murdered young woman and the bride is born. So that's kind of the idea. I think the tone of this is going to be very different than the Frankenstein Del Toro version, but let's take a look at the teaser trailer for The Bride and see what we're in store for here. Okay. Here we go.
Was I just the same before the accident?
There wasn't any accident. Everything we did, we did it on purpose.
So that was the trailer for The Bride, or teaser trailer, I guess I should say. And so, yeah, Chris, a very different style, it looks like, than we have with the other Frankenstein movie, which I'm totally cool with. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks great. Just visually style. And I'm probably, we get to so many movies, I probably can't help it. But I don't want to see anything else. That teaser was perfect. It gives me a sense of the visual style. I get to see some of the actors in the roles, but I don't want to see anything else until I see the movie, because I do think it looks good. I actually don't think I have seen a trailer for the Frankenstein by Del Toro. Mm-hmm. I think I may have. I've been actively avoiding it.
I don't think we've done it on the show. I've seen it, but yes, okay. Right. Yeah, no, it is definitely going in the route you would expect it to go, especially with Del Toro
Got you.
at the helm. But this one has a whole different vibe and feel to it. And yeah, I'm excited about both. I'm just happy. I'm happy with any interpretations of some of these old characters and the stories around them. So
Jessie Buckley is also one of my newer. I mean, she's been in so much stuff now, but I really like her as an actress. Yeah. When she did, I think it's Wild Rose is the name of that one. And I really liked that one. That was a much, more indie film. And then the things that she's done since then, she just makes interesting choices for movies. I mean, she's going to be in Hamnet and then she's going to be in The Bride.
Yeah.
So you have right there, you're like, okay, those are two pretty opposite type things. But yeah, it just shows her range. And yeah, I just enjoy her watching her projects. So.
All right. I've got one other. I was trying to debate if I squeeze this in or not, but I'm going to do it because, by gosh, I want to.
Because why not?
And I don't know if you have seen this trailer yet. And I'm pulling it up. My iPad is being a little temperamental at the moment, but I'm getting it up to play for us.
Okay.
And I will have it here in just a moment. And I'm waiting. And here we go. Okay. I'm kind of a secret Neil Diamond fan.
Okay.
You know where I'm going with the film.
I have not seen the trailer for it.
I do. I like Neil Diamond.
It's Hugh Jackman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I like Hugh Jackman.
But he's not playing. He's not playing Neil Diamond.
Oh, he's not.
No.
Oh, fascinating.
Okay. So the movie is called Song Sung Blue.
Right.
And it does star Hugh Jackman, and it stars Kate Hudson.
Okay.
They are a Neil Diamond tribute band.
Oh man. Okay, so my interest in this movie is now, yeah, because I was like, oh,
and it's based on a true story.
Oh, awesome!
It's writer director Craig Brewer.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So look.
Yeah. I mean, okay, from 10% interest to 95% interest.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
So we're going to play the trailer for Song Sung Blue.
Is it a teaser trailer or is it a trailer?
I don't know. It's like the first one that they came out with. So
okay.
It probably, look, this isn't a film I think you got to worry about it giving away things.
I mean, we know.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
But anyway, let's take a look at this film that I'm eager to see. I think this looks pretty good. So
I'm not a songwriter. I'm not a sex symbol. I just want to entertain people.
I don't want to be a hairdresser. I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to garden. I want a cat.
I need something big. I need something new.
What do you think?
You don't want to be a Neil Diamond impersonator. You want to be a Neil Diamond interpreter.
I was looking for the right way to say it, and you just came right out and said it.
Tell your mama, girl, we can't stay long.
We should call ourselves Lightning and Thunder.
We got things we gotta catch up on.
So you be lightning and I be thunder.
Yeah.
So that's the trailer for Song Sung Blue. Chris, thoughts?
I'm excited because I think I have a non-stereotypical movie to go see on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it is coming out Christmas.
No, it's great. Because immediately you're like, you started saying it's a movie. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a Neil Diamond biopic. We're getting the Springsteen biopic with Barry Allen White. Is that his name? The bear guy.
Jeremy Allen White.
So
there's a Barry Allen.
That's a broadcast.
He's the Flash.
He's the Flash. Okay.
And there's a Barry White.
Barry White.
Who's a singer. Yeah. But I don't think there's a Barry Allen White. But there's a Jeremy Allen White.
We both need sleep. We really do. So when you were teasing, I'm just like, no, I don't want to. And then the more you said about it, I'm like, okay. And then, after seeing the trailer, what's funny, and Craig Brewer, Black Snake Moan, that film of his I really like. Some other, he remade Footloose. I wasn't, really big into that. Hustle and Flow was okay. A lot of people were really big on that one, but I haven't heard from him in a while. So for him to come back and do this, it's really funny though, because it's like, it's taking all the paint by number ideas of a biopic, but making it about a cover band. And that is, and it based on a true story cover. And I'll just do it, but I'm like, okay. So it's kind of meta in many ways. But it seems like there's, what is also kind of surprising to me is it looks like there's a big heart at the center of the film.
Yeah.
So I'm on board.
Okay, good. No, I like Hugh Jackman. I like Kate Hudson. They look like they're having a good time with this film. I think it's got some music in it. It's going to have, it seems like you said, it does seem to have a big heart. So bring it on. Let's do it. I think it sounds good. It sounds good. Yeah. All right, Chris, before we go on to your recommendation, let's just talk briefly about the Foot Candle Film Festival that just wrapped, the 2025 festival that we just ended Sunday evening. And again, we ran technically for almost a week and a half with things going on.
Sure.
But, the real film screening part of the festival went from Wednesday through Sunday. We had over 30 films, I think we showed at the last count, if I remember correctly.
Definitely over 30, yeah.
And so I think I had a good time. Did you have a good time? I think it was good. I think it was a really good time. But let's take a moment to kind of recognize, I wish we could recognize all the films because, I think every film we showed, thanks to our screening committee that did all the review of the submissions we had. I mean, all the films we showed were excellent films, really, really good. But like you do with a festival or like you do with any type of event like this, you do like to have a winners. Mm-hmm. So we are going to talk about the winners of the festival. But again, that's in no means trying to discount or slight any other film that just because it didn't get that one prize. I mean, every film we showed got some great audience reaction and good feedback. So
think of it this way, our festival is exactly, and especially the award ceremony, is exactly like the Oscars. Just as much glamour, glitz, and everything.
Exactly.
Just because a film doesn't win an Oscar, and it's one of the nominees, doesn't mean it wasn't awesome. It just so happens that's just so. Yeah, same thing with that. No, I'm kidding. We're not like the Oscars, but the award ceremony is like that. Everybody there, we like their films. Otherwise, they never would have come to the festival. If that makes sense. So yeah. Let's talk about the winners.
Yeah, so we can, and I'm pulling them up here to make sure I get all the names correct because I think there are like 11 or 12 different awards we gave out over the course of the evening. So we're going to kind of just mention those winners for us here briefly on each of these. Hold on, I've almost got. Here we go. I've got it. Great. Let's talk about going into kind of our short films first.
Sure.
If we can mention. We did have as our best narrative short film, which means it was our judged category for short films, narrative short films, was the film Cucumber, directed by Harold Verholmen from Norway. And that was the best narrative short film, right?
Yes, it was great.
What was the audience favorite narrative short film? Do you have that handy, Chris?
Sure. It was Time is Money. Mm-hmm. And that was directed by Duran Jones. And both films, both films are great, and it was great to see that. I mean, all the films are great, but it was what made that one nice is some of the team that made the film were able to be here and accept the awards. That's always nice.
It was always good to see. So it was great. We also had on the short film side, we had a documentary short film. Best documentary short film was the film Sheepdogs. That was directed by Brian Knapp-Miller, also from the United States. Brian was at the festival. It was great also to get to meet him and see his work and just really connected with the judges and the audiences there. And then we had an audience favorite documentary short film, Chris.
Yes, and that was The Secret Game, A Fast Break to Freedom. And what was cool about that was it was actually a North Carolina story that ended up being the subject of that, about the first interracial basketball game that was allowed to be, and it was obviously secret, but it was allowed to happen. So that was kind of like a behind the scenes on how that came to happen. So that was cool that the audience saw it and responded. And the director was able to be here for that as well. So that was nice.
Yeah. I'll interject here with one that's before we get to our feature film awards. We did have an audience favorite children's short film. We had a batch of about 12 short films kind of designed for children, but could be just as enjoyed by every age. And we had the audience help us determine an audience favorite children's short film. And that film was Trash Cat, which was directed by Riley Farley from the United States. Riley and her family were actually at the festival for the whole time. It was great to see this film win. It's a fun little 3-minute short film about a girl who adopts a possum, thinking that possum is going to become her new pet. So it was very fun. It's a good little film. And so, the audience really connected. So giving it the short film award for children's short film. Yep. Then we have our feature film. So Chris, the narrative feature film, what do we have in that category?
Sure. So best narrative feature film went to Color Book, and that's directed by David Fortune, a filmmaker based out of Atlanta. And the film actually takes place in Atlanta. It was cool too. I could tell that the audience was like, that's right, that should win when that one was announced. And some filmmakers who had films that were competing against it too, they were like, yeah, that deserves to win. It's like, so that was kind of cool to see and even after the screening of that film, a lot of people were like, yeah, that was just so well done. I think one of the things that struck out to people was a lot of the black and white cinematography that was used in the film, and people were like, "Yeah, that was such a perfect choice." And so, Color Book,
very, very good. We also had an audience favorite narrative feature film, so voted on by the audience, and that film actually. The film I'm going to mention actually won 2 awards. It won both that award plus Best International Film, which is a new category we rolled out this year, working with the Greater Hickory International Council here in the area to recognize any film, whether it was a kid's film, a short film, a feature film, doesn't matter. If it's produced outside the United States, we wanted to kind of see the best international film. So this film, The Fisherman, actually won both audience favorite and Best International Film at the festival. And directed by Zoe Martinson, and the film was produced in Ghana and filmed in Ghana. And just a great reaction from the audience. I think they really connected. It's a good, fun movie, and very, very well done, extremely well done, and showcases the country of Ghana like so well too. So it was kind of cool to have that out there to see.
And it was fun too, which you and I were able to do an interview with her. She is actually still in Ghana working on a premiere in Ghana of this film because they want to, show it where it was made. And we discovered that she actually had a film play at our festival before. Right. So that was kind of cool to see somebody who had done a short film. Now they're on their feature film. And it was fun to see that. So.
Yeah. So we had that. And then our documentary feature film, what was that, Chris?
That was Remaining Native, and that was directed by Paige Bethman.
Yep. So Remain Native was our best documentary feature film that we got from the judges. But then we also had an audience favorite documentary feature film, which was the film 76 Days Adrift, directed by Joe Wine, also here from the United States. So that were the films that we had. Do have to also mention we had our film lab competition that went on the weekend before, where we had 6 teams competing to make a short 5 to 10 minute film that they could premiere the following week. They had 60 hours to work on it, given props and lines of dialogue and genres that they had to fit the film into as part of the competition. The winner of that was a team the team was called Purple Orange. They're students at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts filmmaking program. They made a film called Mr. Myers, and that's what won. Both judging and the audience feedback on that was pretty strong. So so those made up our winners of the Foot Candle Film Festival for 2025. And again, it was a great time. Thank you to anybody who is listening that was there or helped support it or volunteered or anything else. It means so much. I think we just had a great time. We got some great feedback from a lot of the visitors as well about the work that everybody was doing on the festival. So I think we're good. You got anything else to wrap up on that, Chris?
No, it was a really great festival. Echoing Alan, thanks to all the filmmakers that traveled to be here for the festival. Thanks to all the volunteers, and thanks for all the people that just came and watched films. Because if you didn't buy tickets, we couldn't have the festival. So
exactly. That's great. All right, Chris. Well, I think I'm done with my part of the show. I'm done with all the news updates and trailers and such. Sure. We only have one thing left to do, and that is to hear your recommendation of a film that you are wanting to leave us with at the end of the show here. Something that, if we hadn't seen enough movies already in the last week, and I was really itching to see another one here in the next few days, what do you recommend I check out? So
I am going to recommend a film that has actually been mentioned already in the show, Inherent Vice. This was the Paul Thomas Anderson movie that came out in 2014. We reviewed it here on the show. Neither one of us was excited about it. We were like, there's some parts of it, but just didn't work. Well, and it was also based, as we mentioned in our review of One Battle After Another, based on a Thomas Pynchon novel. So when I saw this movie, I didn't really appreciate it. And I think it's because it is kind of like Paul Thomas Anderson doing Big Lebowski, because it's like he's a bumbling detective played by Joaquin Phoenix, Larry Doc Sportello, based on a novel. And I think when I was watching the movie, I was too worried about trying to put the pieces together of what was going on with this missing girlfriend. And, it doesn't matter. And going to the movie to watch it for a second time, which I did recently because I was preparing for One Battle After Another. I wanted to revisit another film of his that he'd based on a novel, or based on a Thomas Pynchon novel. And I liked it so much more. And I think it's because expectations were down, maybe. But also, I didn't worry about the actual plot. I just let it kind of wash over me. And something that I was not expecting happened. I think this might be my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performance ever.
Okay.
Now, yes, he is good in The Joker, and he knows how to do that. But, like, I don't know. And yes, he's good in one of Paul Thomas Anderson's other movie, The Master. But maybe it's because this is a comedic performance. Maybe that's why. Kind of like, Jeff Bridges. I love him in The Big Lebowski. This is Joaquin Phoenix doing it.
Yeah.
And something about it, like, it just really was endearing on this second watch. I'm like, you know what? I think that may be my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performance, which I was not expecting.
Sure.
So that is Inherent Vice, 2014 film by Paul Thomas Anderson. And you can stream it. If you have Amazon Prime, you can stream it for free. And then otherwise you can rent it at various places. But yes, Alan, you had mentioned, that's one that I wasn't high on. I've been meaning to go revisit after you get some sleep.
Yep.
And definitely, I would say, I think that definitely don't watch this tired because you will be completely lost because I was lost the first time I watched it. But yeah, I recommend, going back and revisit. I think you might get a better appreciation of it.
Well, that gives me the encouragement to do so because I was just needing to hear a good recommendation from somebody I trust.
Sure.
Which I do, you, Chris. And so now, yes, I'm now motivated to go see this again.
Sure.
And I need to give Licorice Pizza another view too. Those are the two that, I feel like there's more there to appreciate. I need to find it. So.
Well, I think I need to see Licorice Pizza as well again. So
yeah, all right. Well, I'm still going to go see One Battle After Another. I'm still going to go see that again.
Fair
Don't get me wrong, but I'll catch up with these other two eventually.
Well, if we're talking about things I'll just say real quickly, the things that I feel bad because the festival, you and I haven't had a chance to see or discuss. I want to catch up with A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, and I want to see The Long Walk. Both of those I want to see in the theater. Don't know if I'm going to be able to make that happen, but I'm trying.
Right. Well, that wraps us up for today. Thanks everybody for listening. Sorry about the us being absent this past week, but we had stuff going on.
Yeah,
we're kind of done. It's a wrap for this year. We're back in the flow of things, so we will plan on being back next week for more film discussions, reviews, and news. So for Chris and myself, take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
Contact information, just real quickly.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. See?
Nope, you're good.
Coffee, where are you? Intern is really slack on getting the coffee in here for me to stay woke up. Anyway, sorry, Chris. How do you contact us?
So send an email to info@footcandle.org. You can leave us a voicemail via our contact page on the mesh.tv website. Follow us on Instagram, Foot Candle Film Society, Instagram Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter. We're at Foot Candle Film. Al and I are also on Letterboxd, where we try to leave quick takes of what we're seeing. Do us a favor, if you like the show, consider giving us a star rating, write a review, share with friends on whatever service you receive your favorite podcast on, because it will help us reach new listeners. We'd appreciate it.
Okay. And now we're done. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark. Watch films in the underground. We won't let anyone know where you are. The films that don't make it to Carmike at the mall, or ones that were famous when Grandpa would watch films out of the reverence of the heritage of an art. Watch films through the courtesy of Foot Candle Film Society.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.